Hey guys, this is our last Sunday with this beautiful book, Launching a Leadership Revolution. If you haven't read it yet, I highly recommend this for going through with your teams. And we're going to do more leadership training the next couple weeks. So don't worry, even though this is the last chapter of the book, we're not going to just stop our Sunday night Zooms because I look forward to this time. I love getting to know everybody on our team and just developing our leadership skills. This is my favorite chapter of this book because I feel like this is where we should always strive to be. I had posted on our camp convention page that Kim and I both, and those of you that don't know, Kim is my sponsor, and we both rose very quickly up through the ranks. We hit Senior Ruby in 6 months, and then we hit Emerald in a total of 14 months. And so it was very fast as far as that growth and that momentum. And while it was great, we didn't have these skills that we are passing on to you guys. It was sort of just sign everybody up, we'll learn as we go, which is great on the one hand, but on the other hand, I feel like I wasn't equipped as a leader to equip my team. And so I was really stuck at that third level of just not being able to lead my team. I was learning to lead myself, but I really didn't know how to develop leaders, which was the topic we talked about last week. And so I feel like this past 14 months I've been Emerald. I've really learned to not only develop leaders, but develop leaders of leaders. And this is the key of the whole picture. This is what we want to strive to do. This is what we want to continue to work on. And it's an ongoing process. So I love this little light bulb thing. Our purpose as leaders is to create other leaders, to kind of spark that light to go off in them so that they can pass it on to the next person. And so, this quote in the book by John Ruskin, really great men have a curious feeling that the greatness is not in them, but through them. And it's really important as we develop ourselves that we learn it's not us. We're not some almighty plexus amazing God or goddess or queen or king. And you could be amazing, but it's not about you. It's about our team. It's about our people. The greatness in the people in our downlines, the greatness in our customers, in our uplines. And we need to be able to see that to develop them. And this is the level that we want to strive to be at. No matter where you are at, some of you on our Sunday night meetings might be like, oh, I can see myself here. That's great because now you know where you're at. Now you know where you need to work towards, and you can now identify where your team is at. But you shouldn't want to be content at any one level. I was content at a level 3 leader. I was growing my team. I was being a leader, but that was it. I didn't know there was anything beyond that. And now that I know, I want to strive to develop myself to be able to develop my team. And the purpose of wanting to be here shouldn't be because it's the top, but it should be because your team is depending on you so that they can go to the top as well. Results are going to come through the endurance and success of your vision, which we've talked about a lot, your why, your vision for yourself, for your team. A lot of times we tell you create a vision board, you know, your goals and your dreams. All of those things have to be conveyed to your team and through your business. Oops. The vision and you, the leader, are going to be intertwined. if you have a vision and your people see you, they should see your vision when they see you. They shouldn't see, oh, yeah, Jamie, I don't know why she's doing Plexus, you know. They should see, no, I know she's doing it for her family, to have finances, to be able to bless other people. They should know your vision. And leaders at this level, they're going to be recognized by the following that you're leaving behind. So, like, I think of Sonia Dudley. She is like the queen of Plexus as far as the magnitude and the impact she has. When I started Plexus, she was the person I would constantly go to watch videos. She would be the person I would always message, and aside from my upline. And to see the impact she has had in this business is amazing. People not even on her team, you know, new people, you know who Sonia Dudley is. She makes fabulous YouTube videos, makes it very easy for you to kind of learn as you grow, and she leaves behind a legacy. If she were to leave Plexus for whatever reason, people would still use her stuff. So we have talked about all of these levels of influence the past now 5 weeks, and we're going to kind of break it down, and you can see kind of where you're at. In level 1, the level 1 leader, you're only going to be as good as what you learn. So you're still in that learning phase, and there's nothing wrong with being a level 1 leader. The problem comes when you want to stay a level 1 leader. So if you're a level 1 leader, that's awesome. You have to start somewhere, and you have to learn. But you're not going to move beyond that if all you're doing is learning, all you're doing is watching YouTube videos, all you're doing is looking up stuff in your back office. You're not putting action behind it, so you're going to stay there. A level 2, this is the action phase. Remember, these people are only as good as their personal performance. So it's all about you. It's all about how you run your team. Oftentimes, this is when you're starting. You don't really have a team yet, so it's all about you. How are you growing your team? How are you growing your customers? What are you doing as an ambassador to move up that ladder? So level 2 people, if you're here, strive to reach up to the next level. Level 3, these people, you are only good as the performance of your team. This is where I was stuck, because even as an Emerald Ambassador, I had a massive team. I have great leaders on my team, and so it's very easy to be intimidated by a lot of the leaders in my downline. It's very easy to sort of rely on them to carry you. And this is where you don't want to get stuck, because your team is important, but they are not the ones that are going to carry you. You have to also be doing your job as their leader and lead them. Otherwise, they're going to fall off. They're going to lose that vision. They're going to not have the skills to carry you past a certain place. So sometimes you can get to gold. Sometimes you can get all the way to diamond. But it's not going to last long term if you're staying as a level 3 leader. I know a lot of you know Melissa, our diamond upline. Her sponsor, Ariel, when she went diamond, she had to learn how to be a leader. So she made it all the way up to diamond as a level 3 leader. And I remember her telling me she was a diamond ambassador and had to learn how to lead. So don't think that, oh, I'm a level 3 leader, I'm never going to make it up there. It's not necessarily true. There's many jewels in Plexus. We heard from at our jewels training that they sort of fell up the ladder. In other words, they signed really strong leaders. And that's very fortunate, but at the same time, it's not going to last long term. If you don't recognize you have to move beyond this level, you may make it to diamond, but you're probably not going to stay a diamond because your team is going to leave you behind. So it's very important if you're a level 3 leader and you're worried about your team, that's great, but you have to go beyond that. You have to train them. So a level 4, and we have a few of these level 4s on our team, you're only as good as the performance of your leaders. In other words, you have your team, but you really rely on the leaders or your runners to help you. In other words, it's like, well, and I've heard this before, well, I'll see if I can rank gold. It's really up to so-and-so and so-and-so and this person over here and their teams. So you know who your leaders are, but you're not really developing them to be leaders. You're still kind of focused on yourself and you're relying on them to promote you. At a level 4, you're making strides in your leadership. You've identified you have leaders, but it's key to equip those leaders. And that's what a level 5 leader does. This person is only going to be as good as the enduring quality and succession of their vision. So it's kind of moved to be on the team. You have a team, you've equipped your team, but they have bought into your vision so much so that it doesn't matter if you are there or not. They want your vision so bad that you are not part of the picture. It's your vision. So that is where the explosive business comes from, is continually reminding and helping train your team the compensation plan, helping them understand it, helping them understand their why of doing this business. Your vision is going to make or break your team. If you have sort of a vision, like, yeah, this is great, it's okay, your team is not going to rise up to the challenge. You have to convey that passion to your team. So I want you to kind of do a self-assessment. We're near the end of the month. And I want you to just think about the vision you've cast for your team. If your team is not growing steadily, and it's kind of either stagnant or it's shrinking, check your vision. Check how you as a leader are sharing that vision. And you do not have to be a gold ambassador, an emerald ambassador. It doesn't matter your rank. If you have one person on your team, you are a leader. How are you relating your vision to your team? And don't be that ambassador that says, well, my gold upline or my sponsor isn't doing a good job, so I'm not doing a good job. It's not about your sponsor. This is about your vision. So I'm asking you to not look at anybody else but yourself and your vision. And I want you to kind of do a double check and think about, how can I convey that vision? What level am I as a leader? What can I strive for? And if you need to, go back and watch those videos that we did on the different levels of leadership. So let's talk about your vision. I know we talk about it a lot, but at this level, it's very important. At this level, you don't just have a clear vision. That was kind of level 1. You have this clarity of what you want to do. You're not just casting it before your team, but you've done it in such a way that your team embodies it. They buy into that vision. It becomes their vision. You see yourself as a diamond ambassador. We would always say, I'm a diamond in training. Your team sees themselves as a diamond in training, or as we call it at convention, in qualification for diamond. Are you conveying that vision? Are you making it achievable and believable and possible for your team? Or are you sort of saying, well, if you do this and this, then we'll see. Are you a dream killer or are you a dream lifter? So watch what you're doing with your team and look at the growth that it's had, the impact. So here's a quote that was in the book. If a man hasn't found something he is willing to die for, oops, I totally misspelled that. It's not for, he isn't fit to live. What that means, in the book there was this story about how people didn't follow Martin Luther King Jr. because of his name. They didn't follow him because he made promises. They followed him because of his vision. His vision was so powerful and was so grand that the people that he talked to had that same vision. His I Have a Dream speech was not just himself speaking it. He was speaking it in unison of all of the people there. He was a level 5 leader. He had such clarity, and his followers embodied what he was doing. The leaders at this level, they're almost lost in their vision. In other words, it's really hard to separate the two. When we think of Martin Luther King Jr., we automatically, synonymously think of civil rights. What he did. He was just a remarkable man. And there's not much science left. So those of you that are kind of fact checkers and need a list of like to-dos, I need to do this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and then I will be a level 5 leader. It's going to be very difficult for you to get to this level because it's almost all art. In other words, it's your vision. How are you translating that to your team? What are you presenting? How are you doing it? It's like my husband and I were talking earlier. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. You can tell somebody something and it can be interpreted completely wrong because of the tone. And so there's a lot of that in this level 5. It's how you do things. Who you are is more than what you stand for. That's what's going to make the impact. So in the case of Martin Luther King Jr., it wasn't the fact that his name was Martin Luther King Jr. It wasn't the fact that he was a Baptist minister. It was his character, who he was. That is what's going to make the impact. It wasn't just that he stood up for civil rights. There were other people that did that as well. But it was his character that went before him and made the impact. So check your character. If you're saying something, you can say the same thing as I can say. But sometimes it's who you are that's going to make that impact. So make sure as you go before your team, you are bringing that confidence. Remember, we talked about speaking boldly, speaking with confidence, and your team is going to be confident that you are a leader. Many leaders hit a plateau at level 3. That's where I got stuck leading. To reach the highest level of influence, though, you must find people of the highest caliber to develop and retain them. So remember I told you there's been many diamonds that have hit and they were like a level 3. A lot of them kind of fell backwards and are not diamond because they didn't continue to find people. They didn't continue to grow. You as a leader, you want to strive to move past that level 3 in just learning to lead. You need to learn how to find people that are going to challenge you to grow. Kim and I are power partners because we challenge each other. We challenge each other spiritually. We challenge each other in our Plexus businesses, most definitely, to grow and be better leaders for our team. And that's what you need to do. If you want to grow in your business, you have got to grow in your leadership. So I want you to take an honest look at yourself. Small leaders surround themselves with followers. Big leaders surround themselves with other leaders. So, where are you? I had a hard realization that I was surrounding myself with a bunch of followers. It's a great feeling to know that people are following you. In a way, I kind of liked it, but it also caused me to be stuck in my Plexus business. It caused me to kind of grow complacent being an Emerald Ambassador. So I had to really change my mindset and my leadership to surround myself with other leaders, which can be intimidating. It can be intimidating to, try to rub shoulders with Jen Hawkins or Celeste Quinn. And I'm not saying you have to physically rub shoulders, but to learn from them, to go on to YouTube and look at more than just Sonia Dudley, but to see, what are these people over here doing? What is this person doing? These leaders that are moving up, Tamara Holloway, Sarah Taylor. I want to surround myself with other leaders because they are going to help me be a better leader. To be a level 5 leader, your ego needs to be in check. That means it's not about you. You did not get here by your means. You may be a fabulous leader. You may be a fabulous person, but it's not about you. It's about your team and their needs and you being able to develop them as leaders. So there was a really interesting story in this chapter about President Carter versus President Ronald Reagan. I was not alive for President Carter, and I think I was alive for President Reagan. I honestly don't know. But here's what they were saying. They were saying that both presidents, Reagan came right after Carter, but the way that they led America was polar opposite. They were saying that President Carter was focusing on micromanaging everybody in the Oval Office, that he was focusing on all the little details, and that he is deemed like the worst president in American history. I don't know, I wasn't alive for him, but compared to Ronald Reagan, they were saying that instead of micromanaging, he had trust in these people who were placed in these positions. He didn't need to check up on them and say, oh, are you doing this? Are you doing this okay? In fact, Ronald Reagan was quoted saying that when he became president, former President Carter actually gave him a list of things to check. And I don't know about you, but that would make me feel like you're not confident in me running this country. Like I was elected. Back off. So think about that with your team. Are you trusting their abilities? Are you looking at that big picture of going to Diamond and taking your team with you? Are you looking at all of that and allowing your team to lead? Or are you kind of, hey, you didn't post that right. Hey, over here, that opportunity meeting, the way you presented the financial was terrible. You shouldn't do that again. Part of developing as a leader is making mistakes. And so you need to trust that you as a leader, you are doing your job instilling in them constructive ways that they can do better at what they're doing. Don't micromanage, but encourage. Give them ways that they can do better without being that micromanager, nitpicky person. It's a hard place, but we need to let them lead. And like I said, sometimes fail. That's how we're going to learn. I think about a kid learning to walk. They don't just go from crawling to running. They have to fall a lot of times when they're learning to take their first steps. But if we're always there, not letting them kind of fall a little bit, they're never going to learn to walk. They're going to wait forever to learn to walk. But you, as their parent, are there to help guide them. You're not there to overcompensate. You're not there to kind of, I can't believe you fell again. Okay, put this foot in front, right there, not over there. That's not guiding. You need to be that leader who's going to come alongside your team and help them learn to lead. And if you don't have somebody like that, that's where you need to find your power partner, or your keep going up your upline until you find that. But you be that leader for your team. So the last part of the chapter was about Paul. And I loved how they brought this in, because I never thought about this in this light. So if you don't know the story about Paul originally was Saul of Tarsus and persecuted Christians. And he became a believer, and he changed his name to Paul, and he is an author of many of the books of the Bible. And he went to churches, and he started out just an ordinary man. I don't think he knew the impact he would have. But we all know who he is, but people hundreds of years later would carry on his mission of spreading the gospel. He was so influential. So you need to be that person in your team that your team is not going to do this and look at it as work. They're going to carry on your mission, on your challenges, because of who you are. They're going to want to develop their leaders. They're going to want to go and help people become financially free, to become medicine free, whatever it is they're doing Plexus for. This level of leadership is about making a difference in the status quo that outlives us. We're not going to say in 10 years, this is where I'll be. This is about, in 10 years, people will still know about my leadership. So we need to begin attracting, inspiring, and enabling leaders who are adept at developing other leaders. So I want to challenge you this week to not only look at who your leaders are, but to really try to reach out and equip them. Reach out and ask them, hey, let's get together. What are your strengths? What are ways that I can help you be a better leader? Sometimes people won't tell you until you reach out to them. So we're going to develop other leaders to grow our teams strong. So here's your challenge. Come alive, get to work, and lead. So